Hello and welcome back to Superbooth 2019. This is Blake Angelos here, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I have really come to love about the new CP88 and the CP73, but I have a CP88 in front of me here, and I can tell you straight up that I've been playing a lot of stage pianos with Yamaha for quite a long time, and this is by far my favorite one. And the reason why it's my favorite one is because, you know, going back to the days when I had my own time piano and I actually had a CP80, there were things that I really loved about those products, and the things that I really loved about them was the one-to-one interface, the idea that I can play a sound and I have one knob or one button that I know it's going to do the same thing all the time. And I love that about this instrument, that you have this direct real-time control. Now the CP88 is what I have in front of me here, and what this product is, this is 88 graded hammer action. It has natural ebony, it has synthetic ebony and synthetic ivory key tops, and it also has what's called the triple sensor. What the triple sensor is, it allows me to restrike a note before it comes off the bottom, so it simulates really the action of a grand piano. It's why pianists choose grand pianos, because of the control that you have, and the feel of this is really remarkable. But, you know, the feel is one thing, the other thing is the sound. So I'm going to go through in some of the pianos and show you some of the cool things I like about this instrument. The first piano I'm going to play is my favorite one that I usually use all the time, and this is the CFX. I love this because it's so dynamic. I can play extremely soft, but then when I get loud, so the CFX kind of represents everything Yamaha has learned over 100 years of piano manufacturing. And when they designed this piano, they really did a lot to change sort of how the piano responds from kind of a concert pianist sort of perspective, where you really want a very, very dynamic, soft, beautiful sounding piano at the low level, but when you really want to project, it has a very strong fundamental. So it's not a super resonant piano, but it has this wonderful fundamental that really can sail over a symphony orchestra acoustically. It has a great projection, but it also has this wonderful soft layer as well. Now the thing I love about this instrument here is it just works in pretty much every situation. I can play a jazz tune and work with a jazz trio, and it works very well in that. But because it projects, I can play rock music and all sorts of stuff. So it's just a great all-in-one, all-around piano. The next thing I want to show, so here's the CFX right here. Now I'm going to switch right now, and I just switched the sound to the Bösendorfer Imperial. So you notice that the sound did not cut off. So here's the CFX. I've already switched to the Bösendorfer. Now listen to the difference with the Bösendorfer. Much more resonant piano. Bigger low end. Much more resonant piano as well. So this is a great piano, I think, for a lot more ballad kind of things. I also have a lot of reverb on this. The great thing I love about this instrument is that if I see that I have reverb that I want to change that, I have a dedicated reverb area over here where I can adjust the time and the depth quickly and easily. It's all right here dedicated, so I don't ever have to pull up myself out of the music. That's the benefit of a one-to-one interface. I need a little bit less depth, a little bit more depth, and I'm still not being distracted. So I'll move on. That's the Imperial 290 Bösendorfer. The next one is the S700. Now this piano is a piano that comes back from our S90 ES. And the reason why we brought this back and reimagined it for this new CP88 is because a lot of Nashville and LA and the United States studio musicians, also musicians over here in Europe, really love that S90 piano sound. It's one of these pianos that I find is easy to mix, especially when I'm in a DAW and I want a good piano that just mixes very well. Just a nice pure piano sound that they just reimagined for this instrument that I just really dig. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a piano that you get with CPOS version 1.1. So one of the cool things about this is that this is an updatable system. And about every 6 months or so, a couple times a year, we will update CPOS to give you more sounds. So to kick this off, at launch, we started with CPOS version 1.1. And one of the sounds that we added was the C7 piano. Now this C7 has a really remarkable character that I love, especially the soft layer here. It's a different soft layer than what the CFX provides. But the thing I love about this piano is that it has the cut and the bite for people that do gospel and R&B. So when I play, it cuts right through the mix. But then it has this ability to be very soft. Really gorgeous piano. Again, you get this with CPOS version 1.1. So when you get your CP, make sure you go to your country's Yamaha website and download that OS and upgrade it. Because you not only get that, I'll show you some of the other ones, you also get a couple new timed pianos and a really cool reed piano as well. So the last piano I'm going to show in the piano category, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the effects in here, is the U1. Now the U1, this one was purposely sampled like it's been sitting kind of in a studio for a couple of months, and the piano's gotten a little out of tune, but there's this great, I mean, when you listen to this, it just gets up in your body. It has such a nice character to it, you know. Totally hear that it's just a little not quite right, but it's got a lot of character, and it's exactly the kind of piano that I would want to use on something like, you know, a pop tune, a gospel tune, a country tune. It's just a great, awesome U1 piano. Now, looking at this section here, you'll notice that each of the sections has this little area that's in black. Now, what that is the category. So piano, electric piano, and subcategory section. They all have left and right split, so it's very easy to split and layer this instrument. It has octave selections. It has a volume and a tone control, so I can turn up and down the volume, so it's easy to blend things. So let's say I just want to make a quick layer. I just turn on the subcategory section over here. Subcategory is subservient, so it's meant to be things like layers and splits. That's where my basses are. So right now I turn this on and I have the U1 with the string section. If I want to turn it up, there's a dedicated button or a knob right here that allows me to instantly turn it up. If I want to adjust a tone, maybe I don't want such a fuller, richer tone. I want a little bit of a thinner tone, so it's really kind of a nice pad. I can turn the tone back a little bit. Maybe turn it up a little bit. Now I have, each of these sections has its own dedicated effects as well. So in the piano category, you have compressor, distortion, drive, chorus, and a switch to turn that on. So things that you might use with a piano. So if I want to use maybe the U1 with a chorus effect, I can turn it on. Or a compressor maybe. If I turn up the compressor, I can have it pump when I hit it, so it really gain reduces, so it's very compressed. But I have a depth control that's a one knob, single knob compressor, so it doesn't quite cut it back a little bit, but it brings the low velocities out a little bit in the mix. So you have things that are very useful on gigs to really shape your sound in real time, which I love about this instrument. So that's you know, just simple setting up. If I want to turn this off, I can just switch it off here. I don't even have to leave what I call the live set over here. I can recall things instantaneously that are live setups. But the beauty of this instrument is just sitting in front of it and being able to turn things on and off when I want to. So, for example, I just turned on the electric piano section, so I'll kind of move to that here. Even though it's in a live set that I had before, I can just experiment by just switching things on and off, and that's the beauty of this instrument. That's that reimagining of these classic interfaces. When I had a tine piano, I had a tremolo control, I had a volume, I had simple controls that did powerful things that were very easy to get to. Same thing here, I don't have to do a lot of menu diving. So now I'm in some of the electric pianos, and the first one I'll play here, it just happens to be the 73 RD. So this one's more like the early versions that had the felt hammers of the tine pianos. You know what I mean? Now the thing I love about this sound is that I pulled this up and the drive is already on. I love that about this instrument. Now here's the same sound with the drive off. Now I'll just turn on the drive circuit, and without turning it up, it totally gives it just enough of a boost, and it's probably my biggest go-to road sound that I play with this instrument. Now, if I want to give it a little bit more drive, I can turn it up and have this, you know. This is a VCM, virtual circuitry modeling, is the technology that we use to simulate this preamp. It's a great sounding preamp. It gives it just that bite to sit when you're playing with other musicians. So this is the 73 RD. I'll switch to some other ones in here. There's another one, 78 RD. This is a later version one. This one has a little bit more tine to it, a little bit more punch. When I switch to the next sound, I didn't cut off the previous sound. It's seamless sound switching. This one's called 75 RD Funky, and this one has a lot more bark in the low end. So 78 RD. Now, let's talk about the effects in this section. This is like having two stomp boxes. One of them does more like auto pan, tremolo, touch wah, pedal wah, compressor. And the other effect is our VCM, the chorus, phaser, flanger, and things like that. So I can turn on maybe something like auto pan. And I have, again, two controls, depth and rate. So I want to turn up the depth and bring the rate down. But they're quick controls. If I realize I need a little bit more rate, again, it doesn't take me out of the music. It doesn't take me out of the moment. That's the thing that we always struggle with as keyboard players, is instruments that take you out of the moment. You don't want that, especially on a stage piano. You want something that keeps you dialed into the music so you can play in the space between the thoughts. How's that for heaviness? That's true, though. That's what I'm looking at, a Hungarian jazz pianist right now who's saying, yes, he knows what I'm talking about. So it's just simple controls to allow me to do this. The next one, I'll turn on the phaser here. Now this one has depth and speed, and my big thing is I like a lot of depth and slow speed from my phaser. But that's a little too slow, but I don't have to think. Difficulties in a live stream are okay. This, I love this WR wide. Again, this is from version 1.1. Now with this one, I like to use something like the tremolo effect. So that's kind of a nice, walk through the E piano section. Now the last thing I want to do is one of the coolest things I love about this instrument, and that's this cool one-to-one interface allows you to do a lot of neat things with the controls that you have in front of you to do some cool looping effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of my live sets that I have in here. Again, this allows me to store settings inside the instrument and recall the whole front panel. So I have one that I've set up here that I call CFX Loop Layer. And with this one, I'll describe what I'm going to do so you can see kind of what's happening, and then I'll just do it for you. So in the subcategory section, I have a sound in here, and it's just a marimba sound that I'm actually running through a distortion. I'm running my marimba through a distortion. I never thought I'd ever say that, but that's what I'm doing. So, but I'm also taking it through the delay effect. And the delay effect, I have it set all the way where the depth is all the way up at the very top, and the feedback and time are all the way up. So I have a loop going with the delay. I have the same setting for the delay on the E piano as well, but I'm going to use things like the ring modulation effect, which is one of the cool, trippy effects inside here. And I can create a loop here. But then when I play the piano, you'll notice that I have it set a little higher in volume, but I don't have it going through the loop. So I can play over the top of this loop I've created. Well, then what I'll do is I'll take that, I'll turn up the delay on the acoustic piano and add that to it, and then I'm going to switch to another sound, but that delay will maintain because of the seamless sound switching. It keeps that loop still active, and then I'll open up another thing, and I'll use an entirely different delay effect. I'll use the analog tape style delay for more of a time piano sound to play over the top of it. So that's what I'm going to do. Now just watch and see how it works. The thing that's cool about this here is that I can change sounds in this category and effects and bring in something else, like maybe little pitch bendy stuff there. Maybe I'll add one more sound from this category. The ring modulator is one of the coolest effects in this instrument. You do little trippy little flighty things. Now the piano, this is the best part of the whole show here. I can add the piano to it by turning up the delay on that. And the way to do this one, I like doing this kind of thing here where you go. Okay, now I'm going to switch live sets. So I've switched live sets entirely. That sound remains because we have this cool seamless sound switching. So I have this time piano sound. Now the tape delay has another kind of cool thing about it as well, where you speed up the tape or slow it down. Get a little feedback. Putting that back. the manual fade out I'll do on this one. I can also, as soon as I switch one more scene, it's going to drop the first loop out of the buffer, but the other one can remain, but I already turned off the layer on that one. But that's a brief kind of tour of the things that I really love about this instrument. So not only is it a traditional stage piano that has great sound and great feel and really amazing control, that's with the CP88 here, and this is the one that I kind of play. But I just did a session with the CP73 a few weeks ago with a little jazz trio. And the thing I loved about that is it is a lighter action. No question it's a lighter action, but it feels really good, and it's so lightweight. It's like 30 pounds, or whatever that is in kilograms. 13 kilograms, thank you. For some reason, we never got onto the metric system in Merca. But anyway, it's so lightweight, and it's this nice little small footprint that I can play and take to the gig. So I love that. For a keyboardist, that's a great thing to take around, to your gig. But this is still very, very lightweight as well. How much is this in kilograms? 18, yes. Thank you. The delegate from Sweden helps me on this one. So 18 kilograms is 470 pounds, but I'm strong. No, it's 30-something pounds, 38 pounds or so. So this goes to the gig very easily, too. And it has that nice triple sensor action. It has the synthetic ebony and ivory, so it reminds you very much of a piano. So for the discerning pianist, you have the CP88. But I can see having both of them, and I'm actually going to get the 73, especially after playing it, for exactly what I'm saying, for gigs and things like that. So that is a brief tour of really my, this is such a personal instrument to me. I've been playing lots of gigs on it. And just to give some people an idea, I came from a CP4, which I loved, but this really took it up another level. I've played it with DXR 10s is what I use. I use 2 of them, usually just sitting right next to me on a small jazz trio, just in monitor position. And the sound is so remarkable. I've had so many people come up and ask me, what are you playing? That sounds so good. In this little coffee shop where I live in Washington State, where I play occasionally. And, it's the CP88. It's remarkable. So, but anyway, so enough of me gushing about this instrument. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more with the live stream. I think who's coming up next is somebody who's going to be really cool. So I'm not sure who it is, but stay tuned. Thank you very much.